and welcome to the Kink Perspective. My name's Chris. I'm a psychotherapist and consultant. On today's show, I'm going to dive into a theme that lies at the heart of every meaningful relationship that we see in not only the vanilla world, but in the lifestyle itself. Today, I want to get back into the conversation about authenticity. I think this needs to be a centralized theme that I know I talk about quite often or I write about quite often. But not only does it come up in therapy with my clients, I see a lot of people talk about it or they kind of skirt the issue and not understand exactly what it really means to be authentic, not only inside of their relationship, but a relationship with themselves. Now, as I kind of go through these intricacies of embracing authenticity here, we have to understand these are our most intimate connections. I want to go through the whole transformative power it holds in fostering genuine bonds of trust and understanding and even mutual respect. Now, throughout history here, humans have really craved authentic connections. They've yearned for relationships where they can be seen and heard and accepted for who they truly are. Now, in today's fast-paced world, things have changed, but have they really changed so much? Now, when we look at a place that's filled with social media filters and curated personas, the importance of authenticity has never been more pronounced. It's not really about presenting a polished image or conforming to societal expectations. It's really about showing up as your genuine self, flaws and all, and allowing others to do the same. And when we do that, we actually appear to be more genuine and ultimately we appear more authentic. When I sit and speak with all of you, I'm not, or talk to all of you, or I do a show, yeah, it's great if I have a guest or I have a really big, subject to talk about, but sometimes it's and why even introduce personal anecdotes, because it's about being authentic. It's relatable, and we can understand these connections and understand the drivers behind them. So let's get kind of into this today. Let's understand authenticity and autonomy. Now, when we're defining authenticity and autonomy within the realm of personal identity, it serves as a cornerstone for this exploration we're going to go on. Authenticity here transcends mere genuineness. It's about embracing our true essence and it unshackled from the external expectations of societal pressures. Authenticity is not just about being true to others, but more importantly here, it's really about being true to ourselves. Now, this is a concept that I tend to work on a lot with my clients, especially when we are looking at relationship issues or interpersonal issues. This seems to be something that pops up quite often on social media, that we don't understand, that we're not being true to ourselves, and this tends to lead us to a lot of problems. Now, it is about living in alignment with our values, our beliefs, and our desires, irrespective of external judgments. And in the ever-changing world that we're now currently in, this seems to be a touch more problematic. Groupthink has now taken place. We can't be as authentic as we want to be inside of the groupthink mentality. And I don't want to go too far into that, but authenticity creates and allows originality and creativity to flourish. And that's what it does for us. Now, autonomy empowers us to navigate our lives with a sense of self-determination, sovereignty, and free from external coercion or influence. When we embrace authenticity here, we reclaim the agency over our lives, and it allows us to make choices that resonate with our deepest aspirations, our desires, our wants. This whole sense of empowerment here fosters resilience in the face of adversity and enables us to chart our own course with confidence and conviction. We're not going to deviate. We're going to see and determine what we want to do, and we're going to go after it. We're going to stand by our morals, and these are going to be our convictions of why so. Now, from a psychological perspective, the intertwining a relationship between authenticity and autonomy and our emotional well-being becomes evident. Now, research indicates that individuals who live authentically experience greater levels of emotional well-being, including enhanced life satisfaction and reduced levels of stress and anxiety. And the reason for that is because they're not having to conform or worry about spending their lives pleasing others. They're living their life for themselves. Now, we often hear this phrase, living my most authentic self. Now, has the context of this changed? Perhaps, just because the fact that they're using it in the sphere of putting it on social media. If we're living authentically, I'm not living for the validation of others. I'm living for the validation of myself. Possibly I'm living for the validation of my either family or possibly a partner. But ultimately, I'm living for my own self-validation. That is living your own authentic life. Now, by embracing our authenticity and asserting our own autonomy here, we cultivate this real profound sense of inner peace and fulfillment. Now, a lot of that tends to sound like, oh, well, how is that all psychological? If we walk around and we're misguided or we're negative, we're not going to have an onset here to go out and seek and do the things or cultivate finishes that we want in our life. We're not going to have direction. But if we are positive, if we're directed, and we start completing the things we want, we start finding that harmony inside of our lives. This doesn't cloud our judgment. It makes us less depressed, makes us more productive, and it gives us a sense of being. This whole journey towards self-discovery and self-expression, it not only enriches our lives, but it enhances the quality of our relationships and our contributions to the world around us. Because part of being in a society was about making it better. We used to care about our neighbors. We used to want to make better things. We wanted to make technological advances. We wanted to, cure the world of diseases. And I'm not saying we still don't want to do those things, but I think the perspective of why we're doing those things has changed from a need for humanity to a need for profit. Now, I don't want to stray too much into that, but it's still about contributing to a better life. And contributing to a better life means that we're contributing to a life that we want in a direction we want to go. So when we look at these things and we start taking them to an intimate side, I want to get to now the authenticity of our intimate connections. Now, human relationships are a massive puzzle. They're so delicate. We're navigating emotions, not only of our partners, but of ourselves on a daily basis. Now, here, authenticity emerges as this guiding beacon, if you will, and it illuminates the path towards profound intimacy and enduring emotional bonds. Now, as we go through this whole essence of authenticity within the realm of our connections, it becomes this transformative power, if you will, that nurtures trust and vulnerability. The more authentic I am with my partner, the more willing they are to trust me, which means the more willing both of us are to opening up to one another, to being vulnerable. And if I am vulnerable with my partner, I am being true to myself. Now, at the heart of an authentic relationship lies the courage to unveil our true selves, unfiltered and unguarded. Now, if we look at a psychological theory here, such as Carl Rogers' person-centered approach, we understand that authenticity entails congruence between our inner experiences and our outward expressions. When we embrace our authenticity within intimate connections, we cultivate a sacred space where vulnerability thrives. Now, this is another topic, pardon me, that comes up a lot. Why are we talking about vulnerability? Why does this always surface in your podcasts or in your writing? Because vulnerability, it's got to come from both parties. It can't just be from one person. We have to create that area where we feel safe enough to talk to people, where we can open up about the things we are excited about, our deepest desires, our fantasies, or even the things that hurt us the most. These are the issues that, when we are deeply connected with someone, we feel comfortable and safe enough expressing. This authenticity here becomes the rich soil from which deep emotional bonds flourish, fostering an unparalleled sense of closeness and understanding between partners. Now, research in interpersonal neurobiology, pioneered by people like Daniel Siegel, highlights the significance of authenticity in shaping neural pathways associated with empathy and emotional attunement. When we show up authentically in our intimate relationships, we not only deepen our emotional bonds, but we also synchronize our brain activity with our partners, fostering a deeper connection and sense of profound closeness. Sometimes it is more difficult. I'm not going to go into today why it can be a little bit more difficult for men. We have a lot more societal pressures. Emotions aren't easy for us to discuss. We're not always given that space, but I don't want to go into that. But I can think of a couple people off the top of my head, people I've worked with, people I've talked to that have gone through some similar struggles, where these people who are working through their issues are giving their partners the space to open up. And yeah, the conversations are going to be rough. And yes, they're not going to be pleasant. And some things might hurt. But at least we're being vulnerable. We're being raw. And that's really what it's about, that authenticity within those intimate partners, inside of those connections. We uncover this profound way in which embracing our true self enriches our intimacy and our vulnerability. Whether or not in some of these instances when we're doing these things, it's going to hinder the relationship or end it, at least we are being real. Now, if I look at attachment theory, this was developed by John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth. We recognize that authenticity fosters secure attachment bonds. It provides a safe haven for our emotional expression and our exploration. Now, if we shed the layers of pretense and facade, we invite our partners into the depths of our being. And we really do forge these connections that transcend superficiality and resonate with authenticity. Through practices such as mindfulness and self-compassion, we're not sitting there and beating ourselves up or calling ourselves names, which can happen. All of these things are rooted in these principles of positive psychology. We cultivate the sense of self-awareness and acceptance necessary to embrace our lives in an authentic sense. So what do I mean by some of this, right? Because I know sometimes I get caught up in the psychological jargon here, or a little bit of psychological overtones. What I'm talking about, you don't have to sit around and and and, like you're doing yoga practices or anything else. But often, again, when I'm working with clients, I'll meet people who are constantly beating themselves up, saying that how bad or terrible they are. Maybe they've been mistreated by partners over the years or decades of abuse. So we are made to think that, or made to feel more so, that we are not worthy. We're unlovable. We're not valuable. We don't bring anything to the table. We're not good people. We have all these traumas or baggage, and we call ourselves names. This is not self-compassion. This is not being authentic to ourselves. And it's one of the things that when I see these types of behavior, I tend to hone in on it. We stop kind of everything else and we start to focus on this area. We start to learn and practice self-compassion. Yes, doing affirmations to ourselves in the morning is very positive. It changes our perspective. It changes our outlook. Now, I want to bring this kind of fold more into the kink lifestyle here. When we look at it in this context, authenticity takes on an even deeper significance. Within our community, individuals often explore the aspects of themselves that may be considered taboo or unconventional by mainstream society. We know that everything we do is not in the conventional norms of daily life. Here, when we embrace authenticity, it becomes not only a personal journey, but a radical act of self-liberation and empowerment. Now, if we draw upon these principles of consent and communication that we know are fundamental to the lifestyle that we are involved with, authenticity becomes the cornerstone of healthy and fulfilling relationships. Now, by embracing our true selves here and communicating our desires openly and honestly, we really do create a space for trust and mutual respect where vulnerability does thrive. And in our world of kink, authenticity extends beyond the mere self-expression. It becomes a means of forging profound connections with others who share similar desires and interests. Now, when we show up authentically in our interactions, in our relationships, even with the community itself, we really create this sense of belonging and acceptance that transcends all of the norms and expectations that many people have. Moreover, the kink community provides a supportive environment for a lot of us to explore and embrace our authentic selves, free from, hopefully, judgment or shame. I don't want to go into that today, but kink shaming still is a thing. I don't know why. Um, Spoken about that before, but for the most part, when we show up in this scene, we're supposed to be free from these things, especially when we go to places like workshops or events or we participate in forums. We have the opportunity to connect with like minded people who celebrate the diversity and encourage self discovery, especially within the lifestyle. So, how do we navigate all these challenges and boundaries within this? Now, when we have this whole dynamic interplay of intimacy, navigating the challenges and boundaries becomes really essential for maintaining authenticity and autonomy within our relationships. Now, I want to address some of the common challenges to authenticity in intimate relationships here because it requires a deeper understanding of the dynamics at play. Now, from the societal norms to personal insecurities, there are a myriad of factors that can hinder our ability to express our true selves authentically. Sorry, so many syllables, sometimes my words are tripping over. You might be giggling along. I know a couple of you do. I get little notes here and there. Nothing personal, and I don't take it personally. Sometimes, hey, words get tripped up. Life happens. Anyway, when we acknowledge the challenges here and we explore the roots as to why, we begin to kind of dismantle these barriers that stand in the way of our genuine connections, or more so, that stand in the way of ourselves. Now, some strategies for overcoming fears of judgment or rejection when we tend to want to express ourselves in our true sense. This is done and can be rooted in self-compassion and self-awareness. Now, if we draw on the principles of cognitive behavior therapy, which is what I do, we challenge the negative beliefs and we cultivate a mindset of resilience and self-worth. If we reframe our thoughts, embrace vulnerability, we empower ourselves to step into authenticity with confidence and courage. The importance of setting up and respecting boundaries cannot be overstated here, especially in maintaining authenticity and autonomy within our relationships. Boundaries serve as the whole scaffolding here that supports our healthy interactions. It ensures that our needs and our desires and our values are truly honored and respected. When we communicate our boundaries openly and assertively, we create a space of mutual respect and understanding where authenticity can flourish. Now, I say it and emphasize it that way for a reason. We have to understand that the world has changed. We're identifying ourselves with who we vote with or what we believe in or what identity we want to have today. And this is leading to a lot more disagreements with people in general inside of relationships. Those people are saying, you're not respecting me, so if you're not respecting me, I'm not respecting you. Well, sometimes discussions just need to be had, and we need to be able to talk things out. Hear the other side. If we don't agree, we can just say, I understand your perspective, and move forward. By that way, we're respecting and understanding the person and their feelings, and we're not diminishing our own capacity. Right? If we do these things, we make communication flourish, we practice our empathy, we cultivate the whole culture of consent, and we really do create environments where authenticity can thrive and grow. Now, in our kink lifestyle, these challenges and boundaries take really a big significance here. Within the community, we all know that we explore dynamics of power to some extent, control, and most of all, the consent that's required for the heightened awareness and sensitivity of the things we do within the scene itself. We already know that we have to prioritize our communication and our negotiation and our respect skills. We tend to work on these when we're meeting somebody in the first few weeks. This helps us create a space where our authenticity and our autonomy are celebrated, honored, respected, and heard. And again, we can do some of these things when we go to workshops or demonstrations, or we use community resources, or we talk to individuals within the community itself, and gives us an opportunity to learn and kind of grow together, if you will. Because this allows us to put our boundaries in place and work on our own personal courage, even our own compassion, not only with the community, with potentially somebody else, but with ourselves. By embracing authenticity and autonomy within these spaces, we really do not only forge a connection with somebody else that's rooted in trust and respect and empowerment, but we really embrace and build that connection within ourselves. And I think that's one of the strongest parts we need to remember. And some final thoughts I have on this. It's essential to really reflect on the profound impact that embracing our true selves can have on both our relationships and our own personal journey for growth. In a world often plagued by societal expectations and the pressure to conform, the ability to authentically express ourselves within relationship is truly nothing short of revolutionary. It's a declaration here of our autonomy, a testament of our courage, and the celebration of our inherent worthiness by allowing ourselves to be vulnerable and transparent. We really do create these opportunities for genuine connection and intimacy that transcends surface level interactions. And when we look at the kink lifestyle, with its emphasis on consent and communication and exploration of our desires, it does provide this unique backdrop for the practice of authentic creation and revelations in not only our relationships but ourselves. We know within the communities we are encouraged to explore the depths of these desires and embrace the aspect of ourselves that may have been repressed or misunderstood. We know this becomes a space where authenticity is not only accepted but celebrated, and reminds us to be our truest selves we can be, to know that we're worthy of love and acceptance, especially of ourselves. So, as I kind of wind this down today, I really want to ask a question to all of you. I know a lot of you don't respond, and I keep putting up questions, but I'd really like some feedback. How can we cultivate authenticity in our own relationships and our own lives? As we explore and look at this question, I'm hoping you find the courage to show up authentically, to honor your true self, and to create a connection that nourishes our souls and our lives. And when I was kind of thinking of quotes today, and I come across a lot of them, there's one by Ralph Waldo Emerson that really stuck out. And it kind of fits for what I'm talking about today. And that quote is, "To be true to yourself in a world that's constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment." I'm kind of paraphrasing it a little bit, but I think you're going to understand what I mean here. Now, some kind of quick updates for everybody. Somebody from the community who is become a really good friend and is definitely a colleague. We have a lot of good conversations, has offered to help me out with doing some editing on my book. So that will be taken up here shortly. Hopefully I'm going to get that all done. I'm going to get it out, back to the printers, and get them what they're demanding, get everything sorted, and then I'm going to go from there. So then we'll let everybody know, hopefully again, when the print version is out of my book. You can get that currently via, if you do Kindle, like ebooks, anywhere you buy an ebook, you can find it. In the next couple of weeks, I am currently still working on my new podcast, which is True Crime, covering the BDSM lifestyle. I promise it's going to be exciting. That is going to actually be more sub-based. I'm still trying to figure out where to go. If you are interested in helping me do this, you like research, you like true crime, you have some free time, I'm looking for some volunteers. Please feel free to reach out to me here at The Kink Perspective. So it's just the name of the show, but no spaces. thekinkperspective@gmail.com. Please feel free to reach out. If you're looking for a therapist, I do put it in the description, but my website is www.enhanced-mind.com. If you're looking for someone, you need some help, you want to talk to somebody, see if I'm the right fit for you, or maybe even deal with what you're facing, please feel free to contact me. As far as the show today, please let me know what you think. I want to get some feedback on authenticity, how maybe how do you foster it in your everyday life? How do you make it come alive? Deep questions today. Let's get the comment section going. Let's really talk about this and see where we end up inside of our community. Until next time, everybody, be safe.